Hi, I'm Rita. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Life Worth Reading. It has been a long time since I've posted a video. I think that in my last couple of videos I said that May was going to be a really chaotic and difficult month, and it really was. It was so great, but it was also so intense, so chaotic due to my work schedule, all of that. It was just really an intense month. I also had my best friend's wedding, which was absolutely incredible, but it was also very time consuming. And now we're already in June and I haven't posted a video in a while, and I thought this is the perfect time for me to show you what I'm planning on reading this summer. So I'm really excited about that. So let's get into what I think will be my summer TBR. As usual, this is really ambitious because imagine me not making a TBR that is 1,000 books long and thinking I'm going to read that in 3 months. But the truth is, I see my summer, I see my hot girl summer, and I see me reading a lot. Hopefully, I haven't been the biggest reader this year. I know a lot of changes in my personal life in terms of me having my first full-time job and all of that. It's been really time consuming, so I'm still adapting to it, but I feel like it's getting easier over time to do so. I'm almost finished with my post-grad as well, which was also a very time consuming activity. And so I see my summer ahead and I just see me reading a lot. And so these are the books from my shelves that I've really felt like reading and that I think I'll be getting to in the next couple of months. This is a wild mix of genres. When I do a TBR, I like to curate it to have a lot of different genres in it. I love reading horror in the summer. I love reading contemporaries in the summer. I love reading historical fiction in summer. I love reading a little bit of everything, fantasy as well. So this TBR has a little bit of everything, but the first book that I want to talk about is actually The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. I bought this book secondhand. It's a little bit beaten up, but I don't mind it. I really don't. And this is going to be, I think, a really sad book. It got a movie adaptation last year that was nominated for the Oscars actually, and it's a movie that I really want to see because I've just been told that the adaptation is absolutely stunning. But I do want to read the book first. I have read a book by Colson Whitehead. I read Harlem Shuffle, which I enjoyed. It wasn't my favorite, but I think like this and the Underground Railroad are really going to be hits for me. This is about two boys that are growing up in the 1960s in Florida and all the trouble that comes with being Black, growing up in that type of environment in that time period. And I think it's going to be a really great insight into what it was like. And I feel like Colson Whitehead really is a talented author. Just because Harlem Shuffle wasn't my favorite doesn't mean that I didn't acknowledge the writing style and the way that this author tells a story. So I think that I'm really excited to get into this. I also love the design of the cover. I love the color blocking, and the tiny figures just shows how maybe insignificant these people feel in their community, in their background, and how everything's so much bigger than them. I don't know why I'm talking about book design as if I understand the single thing, but I just really enjoyed this cover, and I am so excited about reading this book, even though I just know it's going to be really heartbreaking, but I cannot wait to read it. Next up, we have another modern classic. We have A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. This is a book that I'm so scared to read. I am so intimidated by it. My brother gifted me this last Christmas, so not this one, but the last one. And I still haven't read it because I don't know if I can say this on YouTube, but a thing that I simply cannot tolerate and something that makes me really sick to my stomach is like SA and that type of violence. I really cannot stand it, and I know that it serves its purpose in this book. I know it. I understand it has a purpose. It's not just gratuitous for the sake of being gratuitous, but it's something that really affects me. So I'm really intimidated and I'm really scared to read this book, but I've heard just amazing things about it. I recently got recommended it as well. It just, I know that I have to read it. It's a modern classic. I know it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a bit of a challenge for me personally, but I think that I'm really going to enjoy it, and I think that I'm really going to appreciate it for what it is, even though it will be a difficult read. I am anticipating, at least, that it will be. Maybe I'll find it easier when I'm getting into, but just the thought of it makes me a little bit sick to my stomach. But I think that I have to. I think that it's going to be a great experience for me, and it's one of those books that is such a big part of literature as a whole, that I think that I'm missing out on something, and I want to know what I am missing out on. So hopefully I'll be reading it this summer, and we'll see how the experience goes for me. But I'm at least expecting that I'll find it good, and that I'll I don't know, I'm really scared, but I think it's going to be a valuable experience for me. Then I have a horror book that I want to read. I have some more on my Kindle, but physically I have the Invocations by Kristen Sutherland. I bought this book at the Lisbon Book Fair last year, so it's now the anniversary of me having bought this book, and I still haven't read it, and I do want to read it this summer. This is, I think, a YA horror. I'm not sure. I think it is YA. Yeah, I think it is YA. But it says here that it contains body horror, murder, and violent scenes. I don't know. It says it has demons, riches, occult. I know that it's about 3 sisters, I think. Or at least 3 women. I don't know. I actually have no idea what it's about. I've just heard really amazing things about this book, which is unusual for YA horror. I think YA horrors are rarely hyped up the way that this book is. And I have never read a book by Kristen Sutherland. I was very, very interested in House of Hollow, but I never got around to that one. So I want to try this one out. I don't love the cover, but I also don't really care. But I have no idea what this is about. I just know that it's queer, lyrical, grotesque, and pulsing with feminist rage. This is a sapphic horror at its finest. Okay, honestly, that sounds really good. So, I don't know. We'll see what I think of it. I just want to read it because it feels like a waste that I've had this book for a year on my shelf and I still haven't gotten to it. So this summer be a heavy horror summer because I love reading horror books in the summer. It's something that I really love. I don't know why. It's just like the vibes are just there. The vibes are just there, and I love a good horror book, like a brutal, grotesque book in the summer. So I'm excited for this one. Then we have 2 books that are so out of my comfort zone, so out of what I usually read. The first one is Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. This is a fantasy romance, which I am terrified to read. I'm just terrified. I love a good fantasy with a romance subplot, but I'm not really the biggest fantasy romance person. But I do love to go outside of my comfort zone because I can always find something that I wasn't expecting to enjoy. But this one, the reason why I think this might be more of a success for me than other books is because this is kind of like Regency era fantasy, which I love. I love that whole Regency time period, so I feel like that might be a reason why I enjoy this book over other fantasy romances. But at the same time, I've heard mixed reviews on this one, and if people that usually enjoy, I mean, I think it could go both ways. If people that usually enjoy fantasy romance don't like this one, does that mean that I'm going to like it? Or does that mean that I won't? Because if they don't like it, maybe it's not a good fantasy romance. But maybe if it's not a good fantasy romance, maybe I'll enjoy it because I'm not usually a fantasy romance person. Questions are being had, and I want to answer them. So I'm going to be reading it. It's quite short. We'll see. If I don't like it, I'll just DNF it. I'm not scared to DNF. I think you know this by now. So if I don't like it, I'll just DNF it. But at least I'll be trying it out. And I think that is important as a reader. Also, really out of my comfort zone, we have an actual just romance novel. This is the only romance novel that I have in my entire shelves because this was gifted by one of my best friends last Christmas. So not this Christmas, but last Christmas as well. And I really want to get to it. This is Honey and Spice by Babalola. Why am I scared to read this book? First of all, I'm not a romance girly. We know this. I think that you know this. And I also read Love in Color by Babalola, which is a collection of short stories, like romantic short stories that are about like folklore and different mythologies around the world, which I thought was such an interesting idea. But I thought that the actual stories were so cringe. It was simply not for me. I thought it was so overly dramatic, so cringe, and now I'm terrified to read this book. I know this is like a fake dating, I think, romance, friends to lovers, maybe. I'm not really too sure, but now I'm kind of scared because I don't usually like romances, and I also didn't like one of this author's other romances. So this doesn't bode really well for me, but it was a gift, and I really value when someone gives me a book. So I at least want to try it out, and hopefully, maybe I'll be surprised, you know? It's summer. I'm gonna have my hot girl summer as well, maybe I'll be surprised, but I don't have the greatest expectations for it, if I'm being honest. But again, we'll try it out and we'll see what happens. Moving on to another book that is definitely not summery in the slightest, but I really want to read Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. Again, another really difficult read. I don't know why I'm putting so many difficult reads during the summer, which is supposed to be like a really lighthearted time, but I just felt really called to reading this book right now. And this is by Octavia E. Butler, who is one of the greatest voices in dystopian fiction and science fiction, and I really value her as an author, so I really want to read something by her. And this is about time travel. So it's about Dana, who dreams of being a writer, and she suddenly goes back in time. I'm not sure how, but she goes back in time and she goes to a plantation. And it says here, when Dana first meets Rufus on a Maryland plantation, he's drowning. She saves his life, and it will happen again and again. Neither of them understand his power to summon her whenever his life is threatened, nor the significance of the ties that bind them. And each time Dana saves him, the more aware she is that her own life might be over before it's even begun. I know that this is about slavery. I mean, the cover is very indicative of the tone of this book, but I think it's going to be so experimental and so important to read. And again, I really want to try Octavia Butler's books. I also have Parable of the Sower, but honestly, that's a dystopian that's a little bit too real to read right now. I'm not sure if the summer is the time to read it, but this one, I see myself reading this, and I see myself being heartbroken by it, but also really enjoying it. And it's quite short. It's under 300 pages, so it's a nice short read that will probably break me. Finally, of my physical books, I have book 2 and 3 in the Misborn series by Brandon Sanderson. So I have the Well of Ascension and I have the Hero of the Ages. I've read The Final Empire recently, and I'm currently reading The Well of Ascension, but I really want to get to both of these this summer, so I'm giving myself 3 months to finish out the series before I start other epic fantasy series that I really want to start. I want to start the Life Traders trilogy by Robin Hobb, and I also want to read The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. If I do manage to finish this too, I think that I'm going to be trying to read The Shadow of the Gods this summer as well, but I thought that putting it on the list is a bit too ambitious and I don't want to be a flop. So I'm trying my best to be the most realistically delusional that I can be, if that makes any sense. And am I enjoying this series? I think that I am. I think that the plot and the characters are something to be admired. I just think that Brandon Sanderson's writing is not what I was expecting. And after reading the Assassin's Apprentice trilogy by Robin Hobb, which is one of my all-time favorite series ever, and something that I think about all the time, and I just think that it's really hard to compare, because the writing of Brandon Sanderson is really simple, it's really direct, it gets the job done, but it's not anything that great, at least in these books. I also have the Wave Kings, but that's a project for another time. I have that, and I wonder if that has a tiny bit more lyrical writing or if it's all just the same, but I don't know. I thought they would be, oh my god, I feel so bad saying this as if I'm a good writer at all, but I thought the writing would be a little bit better than it is. But honestly, the plot, the characters, the development really does speak to me, so at least that's something. And the Well of Ascension follows what happens after a revolution is done, so it follows the aftermath of, okay, what now? How do we rebuild? Who is in charge? How do we rebuild a system that we fought to end? So I think that's a really interesting question, and I think that Brandon Sanderson will do something really interesting with it, but you have to enjoy the politics of a fantasy book, and not everyone does, but I think I do. So I think that this is going to go well for me. It just won't be spectacular maybe, but at least it's something. I'm sorry, my voice is really raspy today because I went out yesterday and I screamed a lot and other things happened, and I feel like a middle-aged man talking, so I'm really sorry about that. But My Kindle. I also have a lot of books on my Kindle that I would love to read. This is the part where I'm being delusional because I'm trying to tear down my physical TBR, as you know, but I also have so many amazing books on my Kindle that I don't own physically and I want to read all of them. So I'm just going to mention some of them. I have The Will of the Many by James Islington. I have The Sword of Kaigan by Emma Wong, which is a fantasy book that I've been wanting to read for the longest time. I also have Mongrel by Hanako Footman, which is something that I also really wanted to read. I have Cursed Bread by Sophie McIntosh, which is a really short, weird book that I would love to read as well. There are just so many things that I have on my Kindle that I don't own physically, and I'm just constantly being pulled either towards my physical TBR or towards the 1,000 books that I have on my Kindle. I would also love to read Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto. There are just so many books that I want to read, you guys. It's so serious. I also have Woman Eating by Claire Coda. I've been thinking about reading this book for ages. I also have some horror books. I have Home Before Dark. I have This Thing Between Us. I have so many amazing books on my Kindle. It is a crime. So we'll see what ends up happening. I really don't know. I am being very delusional, but if you're not delusional when you're making a seasonal TBR, it's very aspirational. I'm thinking of myself in 3 months' time, and I'm thinking of the person I could be, the reader I could be, and not the reader that I am. And I think that that's beautiful, even if slightly delusional. In any case, these, oh, it's heavy. These are some of the books that I would love to read this summer, and let me know what you think of these books. Have you read any of them? Do you think I'll enjoy them? What do you think? Let me know in your comments. No, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. In any case, I hope that you did enjoy watching this video. Hopefully I'll be much more present this summer, and hopefully I'll be in my YouTube era. But if you don't want to wait around for that, I'm also been posting a shitload of TikToks lately. I'm having a lot of fun over there. So I'll leave the link to my TikTok in the description down below if you want to check it out. And I think that's all that I have to say. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for bookish content. And I'll see you in my next video. I hope you have a nice day, and always remember that life is worth reading.